So welcome back to the channel. So this video is all about connection, and this doesn't just mean about connecting to nature. A few years ago, myself and my family, we almost ended up starting a co-housing community. This all came from something that happened in 2020 that caused me and my wife to have a simultaneous spiritual awakening. It was back in April 2020, and we had seen a video, an interview with a chap called Zach Bush, he's a physician, a doctor, who initially specialised with bringing life into this world. He also specialised in palliative care and developing products for your microbiome, for your gut, through soil. He had done a talk and he talked about connection and the importance of birth and death and having people by your side. And I don't know what happened, but it was like some switch had gone off in my head. It also happened to my wife. I think we were both up to about 2 a.m. that night, just contemplating what we just heard. Incredibly profound words this chap had said. At the time, we were doing up a house in Swindon. We were living in the old place called Old Town in Swindon, which is like a Victorian, Edwardian part of Swindon. It's very pretty, very leafy streets, and I had been rebuilding all the stone walls outside in the front, the house and the back of the house, because they were originally the stone walls for an orchard before all the terrace housing had been built in the late Victorian period. And the process of being outside, not necessarily in nature, using my hands, the mindfulness element of bit by bit rebuilding the stone walls with lime mortar, doing it properly, allowed me to given me time to think about certain aspects. My wife had the same thing, and not to say doing the war, but she came to the realization through this spiritual awakening that we were both having that we needed to move out of the towns and move into the countryside, and we realized we also needed community and connection. So we started exploring the options of this co-housing project. So around this time, I was also exploring lots of other subjects, and I went on a course, a dowsing course for energy lines with a chap called Roy Duff, who's sadly passed away. So I'm actually hopefully going to do an interview with one of his pupils. He's taken on his mantle of carrying on teaching people about dowsing. I don't know if you've ever had these moments where you go into the room and you see someone in the room, you think, I've got to talk to that person. You just you haven't necessarily spoken to them, you just saw them and you felt like the frequencies match, the energy matches with that person. There was this chap, very tall chap called Paul. He was a local chap to Bath. I started chatting about him about this co-housing project I had, and he just out of total coincidence, well, it wasn't coincidence, I don't think, but he actually was also exploring the exact same thing. Him and his family, his 2 boys who are a bit older than my children, and his wife, were also exploring it. And then they invited us to a group chat with some other people, and then we started to explore the project of co-housing. At the same time, energetically, a lot of other people were wanting to reconnect to nature during 2020, 2021. They realised the importance of community, and there were groups, WhatsApp groups, Telegram groups popping up everywhere, trying to facilitate this incredible time. And so we were exploring it with them. We looked all over the place. We started coming up with ideas, names for the community, concepts, how we'd run the community. We started viewing properties all over the place, but we couldn't quite work out a way forward that we were all in alignment with. So after about a year, after actually putting an offer on one property that had 3 properties on with 10 acres of land, we decided that It just wasn't working. I think it was probably the fact that our kids were at slightly different places in their lives. Actually, Lucy was pregnant at the time of our second child, so we were quite in a different position. And we carried on exploring this with other people, really wanting that element of connection with other people, and also with the main goal of having a simpler life and connecting to nature. So we wanted to live off grid, produce our food, and one of the ideas we had was to set it up as a retreat to help people with mental health and problems with finding modern life too much. And that still is the goal of my wife and I. And we joined an online group called Wild Minds. It's well worth looking up if you're interested in co-housing communities. So yeah, we're still exploring that. We've gone through so many iterations of our groups over the last few years. We still believe that will be the case, and that will happen. And we are both my YouTube channel and the things I want to do out of that YouTube channel, my wife's life coaching business will complement that as well. But I think, again, I believe that has triggered something in society back in 2021. I feel that there's a real movement across the country to reconnect with nature and reconnect with people as well. They want to have an element of community, and I think that's something that we, society, has lost. People have realised they need connection, and I think that, again, connection with people and nature, very much the same thing. They all fit into the same element. And this might be a controversial thing to say, but I believe spiritually that we're all fractals of God and the same consciousness up above, and that us wanting to be out in nature or be around other people, have community and belonging, connection, is us going back to source, us wanting that connection. I believe it's an incredibly interesting time that we're in. It's not an easy thing to do. Different people have different amounts of money, they have different views on how they want it. They're trying to find a way that works for everybody. It's quite tricky, but that's something that we will continue to strive for, to create this co-housing community. But I believe there's a model of the future where that we can live in communities on the land in a low impact way. We can improve the soils, we can create community, we can create, and not just community in that home co-housing community, but for example, the Wild Minds project, they supply a lot of the meat and vegetables for the outer community in the villages, surrounding villages, and that's very much becomes almost like a hub. That's something that we want to do with this channel. Over the past 2 months since I launched it, I'm realizing that my strengths lie in storytelling, and that's what I really enjoy. It's something that I've always been told that I'm very good at. And I've tried to record videos this week. Actually, this has been a bit more of an ad hoc video when I was trying to create something that was not necessarily about storytelling, and it's funny, it was not working. The more I think about what I'm striving to do with the channel is I want to tell stories, not just my own stories. So if you got a story to tell that relates to mental health, relates to connection and nature, please reach out. So for example, I'm currently in the process of doing videos on dowsing, one on beekeeping and about the mental health benefits of that. I want to do ones on people that go run ultra marathons on trails, for example, people that are using grounding to recover from health issues, whether that's mental or chronic health issues. Please reach out to me, and I'd love to hear your stories, whether it's in the comments or send me a message through the messaging element on YouTube, and we're happy to chat, as I love to tell your story. I hope this video is of interest today, and reminds us sort of the importance of connection to community, not just with nature, but with other people, and the importance of that. And I really think that that is the future that we will strive towards, where we can live in communities and sometimes be on nomadic, travel between communities and create these networks, where I think it is the best way in terms of providing food for ourselves and others around us, and regenerating the land and rearing animals in a respectful, ethical way, so they have a dignified birth and death, just like we all want that. If any of that resonates with you, hopefully you'll continue to follow me, subscribe, and yeah, let's get grounded.